Okay, we're live streaming. Let me just press the record button. Hello, hello. The things we do on the sly, on the fly. Not on the sly, on the fly. Look at my crazy hair. I'm starting to look more like Einstein every day.
Our hair colour is actually pretty close.
Yeah, it is too. It is too. So for those that we haven't had the pleasure of meeting, my name's Elizabeth Eleanor and this is...
And I'm Nicolette Jane. How are we all?
We have Nicolette coming home from a wedding, and so she's in a park and Restream didn't work on her phone. So we're just, luckily we've got a couple of different platforms that we can use. So we're streaming into Women of Light Movement on Facebook group, and all the rest will be a replay recording that you'll be able to see and comment on. So still just put hashtag replay, and we would love for you to connect with us online, and we'll just go in and check out all the comments, and we'll do it manually instead of seeing you as we go along. So unfortunately, this time around, we won't be able to answer any questions. We'll just have to have the conversation.
Yeah. That's okay. That'll keep us focused.
Yes, it will. And we won't have fun with the Restream, being able to push all the buttons and everything.
You're really into that, aren't you?
I love it. Like, oh, look, here's someone that's commented. So what are we talking about today, Nicolette?
So we're talking about past lives in relation to soulmates, and I know that for me, the soulmate journey of meeting people and connecting with people deeply, and then doing past life work around that, and what was the origin or origins of the history with that person, has been really awesome for me to make sense of a lot of the depths of feeling that you can experience when you connect with someone else in this life. And you're like, where is this? This is so powerful. Where is this coming from? So, yeah.
Have you got any? So for myself, I have taken through a lot of, you included, yourself included, I've taken people through past lives with soulmates prior, but I personally have not had, any soulmate past life experiences that I remember, and which is really bizarre after 7 years of very intense, every single weekend, except for, there was a couple, there would be times that, it was Christmas or holidays or whatever where I didn't go up. But then there was times where I'd stay overnight and I'd go, a couple of days, so definitely intense work for 7 years. And not that I remember any soulmates coming up for me in that experience. I've had really bizarre experiences with two different one in particular, one guy, a really bizarre experience with him in this life. Like I'd have a dream. We wouldn't talk for a couple of weeks, and I just had this real strong connection with him. And then I'd have a dream and he would text me like he had been in the dream. I hit an eagle on the way to his house, which I've only ever hit an eagle that time, and once ever I hit a kangaroo when I was living in far north Queensland, and that was on my daughter's 18th birthday. So very, auspicious times when I've hit animals or killed animals with my car after 17 years of living in the area where, you just always, with these sort of animals in the... I was in a car once where we hit an eagle, but I wasn't driving. So some really intense experiences that, there's more to that story, but that's irrelevant to today's topic. But, yeah, no soulmate experiences for myself. So, but you've had quite a few, right?
Yeah, and that's really interesting. I mean, I think everyone's had the experience where they've had a dream about someone, or they think about someone, and then they call, or and you you obviously have some kind of energetic connection with that person, and your intuition is playing a part in that as well. But for me, when someone, and I've had a lot of relationships that have been very deep, and I'm not really a superficial person. Like, I'm not really I don't like talking about the weather. So
that's why we get on so well. Yeah.
But for me, when there's another depth to it beyond that, usually my guides play a part in coming to me in meditation and things like that, and show me visions of past lives with that person. So it might just be a snapshot of an event or a moment, or a feeling and what I was wearing at the time, or and then when I came in contact with you and we started doing quite in-depth regressions, they were all around soulmates.
Yeah.
So I don't even know how many I've done with you, but so many layers and so many different connections overlapping almost.
And different ones. If I remember, I've done so many regressions that I don't often keep them. But there was some, if I remember correctly, there was some as you were a slave. Is that right? There was something.
Yeah, there was some.
Yeah,
there was some when I was chained up and actually being used as a sex slave. And remember, we've had conversations around this one in particular, that the person who had enslaved me was actually, that in that lifetime, that was actually the best scenario for us to be in, because it was the only way that we could make money or whatever in that time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that person actually had similar visions.
That's
as well.
right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So it was a confirmation, right, of what was going on for you.
Yeah, and I think it's like anything, it's like any of this sort of work. When you scratch the surface of what the history is that's there, it can look like something completely different to what it actually is.
Yes. Yeah.
And the message comes apparent over time and over sitting with it and reflecting on, life experiences in this life and how they relate, and pennies drop over time. Usually there's, in a regression, for me, there's always a big shift and a big energetic, okay, we're letting go of past attachment to past stories.
Mm-hmm. Which is all in the subconscious as well, right? It's all tied up with, those limiting beliefs of not good enough or unsafe or whatever. So, like all of those things all tie up into the patterns that we find ourselves in today's life.
Yeah.
If they haven't been sorted through in those other experiences, we re-pattern them, like the loop keeps happening, the energetic loop. So,
and the belief keeps reaffirming, like I spoke about last week, that the past life experiences that I had with Andrew in previous lives, and a beautiful woman who is in our life now, that was in our lives then as a support person for me. And making sense of all of that, and why at a tribal level I felt so connected with her, and why I felt in this life I was going to lose him, because I had lost him to battle and stuff like that in previous lives before, and then he had a heart attack in this life, and I was like, it activated that, oh my God, it's happening again.
Yeah.
I'm going to lose him.
Yeah.
So, and as we know, the beliefs that we hold manifest what happens. So if I continued to believe that I was going to lose him in some way, I would manifest, and that's based on a previous experience, right, which isn't relevant in this life.
Yeah.
Then I would manifest that again if I didn't go in and do the work to release it.
It's a sabotage. Yeah, absolutely. And so let's talk a little bit about, because now that you're just giving me some reminding me about some of the past lives that you and I have taken, you through. Generally all of them have been a similar sort of scenario, but not quite to this life. And yet some people I've taken through past lives, they've had soulmates and this life, they just can't stand each other, or so can you share with us your understanding of soulmates?
Well, firstly, soulmates doesn't have to be just a romantic entanglement. It can be, soul sisters, like, you and I have been in many, many lives together, working as healers together in some capacity.
Yeah.
And as I say that, I get tingles and the hair on the back of my neck stand up.
I just saw it in community as the women healers, as the men, in tribal situations. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just saw a whole lot of medicines that we were using and stuff like that. Yeah. Anyway.
Apothecary, I think they call that. Do they? Yeah, it wasn't back then. It was like, it was just herbs in jars, right? But then they started naming them. Yeah.
And that, what just happened then, is a really great example of how, when the truth is, particularly when the truth is spoken between two soulmates, and you just like, you get tingles.
Yeah.
And you just know it to be the truth, and that there's a history there, and you don't even need to, like, we don't need to go back into who we healed and
Well, that's a really good bit. That's when I first started doing past life regression with people, I'd take them through the whole process of, where are you, what date, like what country, blah, 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 blah. And
detail.
And I found people wanting to come back for that. They would come, they'd come back and they'd be like, and they'd leave after a session and go and tell everyone that I was this and blah, 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 and you're almost repatterning the neural, because what we're doing is clearing
That's what we were talking about, getting caught in the story.
Yeah. And so I changed it to, okay, because I'm not here to play games and have fun. I love having fun, right? But I'm here as a healer. I'm not here to, the pseudo healer, so I want to support people to shift and get rid of those blocks, right? So, so now the way we work is, let's get to the root cause of what's going on. So
actually, that just reminds me, sorry about the plane noise, if you can hear it.
No,
that just reminds me of a session I did recently. I think it was on Friday, with a client, and she had an experience where someone that she knew through her work committed suicide, and she felt in this life, and she felt a really deep connection with him, and she heard people talking about someone who'd taken their life, and she just knew that it was him. Intuitively, she just knew. And so, and she had been suicidal earlier in this life as well. And I said to her during the session, I said, I feel like he has some messages for you, and he's been with you in other lives. So let's connect with him. And so we connected with him and got him to walk with her through the different times in her life when she felt suicidal. And then the origin of their original connection, where they were actually brother and sister in a life.
Oh,
And we just tuned into what his message is for her right now in this life. And the message that came through really clearly to her when I asked the question was, you can't heal everybody. You can't save everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so it's okay to let me go and not feel guilty that you didn't step in and stop me from committing suicide or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's what I believe soulmates are put in our life to give to us, is, if we really tune into it, is the messages that we need to know right now to evolve and grow to the next level. Not form attachments, about the stories, about, you know, the history, but to tune into the truth of right now.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that's a big one, because soulmates is one of those spiritual languages that people can get caught up in.
Well, another one that people throw around is twin flame, which I've never really resonated with, because soulmates to me is more about all of the connections that we have, and so I guess people refer to twin flames as that romantic connection that they believe is the one through all the lives. Is that what it is?
I think so, because I don't get caught up in it all either, you know, like all of it's language, right? Yeah. And so from what, like, just as we talk, from what I understand twin flame to be, is that I actually see a cell that then splits in two.
Yes.
Whereas soulmates are you know, a really strong connection between two beings. Twin flame is, and I've got a process actually how that relates, because, you know, does that then mean one energy in the higher realms that split into two, and so therefore almost like twins, which is coming like but you know, how does it, like, that's really interesting. I'm trying to process how does that relate
to
and I don't think that function.
I don't think, like, sometimes the answer is there is no answer, and the answer,
do we really need to know, right? Like, that's going into the depths that, you know, like, you know, do we really need to know? Because the ultimate is to, like, we're here to clear any lower vibrational energies so that we can raise our vibration and become our higher self here on earth, right?
That's right.
So, you know, all the rest is gavel.
Well, it's all like you said before, it's all about the language, and it's about what resonates for you. So, you know, there'll be parts of this conversation that Elizabeth and I are saying that really resonate with you, and there'll be other parts that don't, and that's absolutely fine. This is our experience that we're sharing, and everyone has a different experience, and you take from learning from others what you need to evolve, and that's exactly what, you know, is supposed to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And so just to throw into the mix, one of the things about labels for me, myself, is that I've always said one of the things about labels is, you know, people say don't label, you know, I don't want to be labeled or whatever, right? But I've always found for myself that I need, actually it's that stuff we're talking conscious creative, right? Where it's pinpointing and focusing on something. I just got that. So a label actually gives an identity of something.
It gives a focus.
It gives it a focus. But so once you've got that focus and you understand, well, that's what this is the language around it. This is the vibration on our planet, is communication in words. Then now that I've got that understanding, I can let go of it.
Yes.
Because
it gives me the safety and the security to let go of it. And I think the question to ask the entire time is this label, is it is it aligned with me, or is it been handed to me by someone else as their structure?
Yeah. Well, yeah, because it's really good to, you know, like, as I said, like, identify that, right? However, when you identify, this is really cool. So when you identify with that thing, you can then get caught in it, because if you say, you know, I've got cancer, I've got cancer, I've got cancer, I've got cancer, you're identifying with someone that's got cancer.
Yes.
Or you can go, oh, this is the prognosis I've got. You know, I'll give you an example. That's what happened for me when the first time I went through, you know, like that my cat is going to have to wait. She's annoying me. She
does it every time.
Every time she's like, I want to come in now. The first time that I nearly died, right? Like, yep. When I had the fibroid. So I had a 15 centimeter fibroid, but once I'm like, oh, okay, so I've got a 15 centimeter fibroid. Apparently that's really big, right? So, you know, straight away everyone's freaking out, all the medical profession are freaking out that I'm the age I was and I've got this big fibroid, blah, 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 and I was pregnant at the time. And but once I identified, okay, I've got this thing, what do I need to do? I need to get the cleanest, healthiest I can be so that my body can actually do what it's actually meant to do and heal itself.
Yep.
So I didn't focus on, actually I did, there was one aspect to it I did, which was I looked up estrogen and all estrogen dominant foods and cut them out. But other than that, I just got really, really healthy. And so, you know, I worked on my mental, spiritual and physical aspects and got rid of the fibroid by myself, right?
Yep.
So once you have a label, don't identify with it, just start working around it in a way, you know, like.
Yeah, and people, you know, the one that I like to use in my life where my own intention really has played out in a way that's tangible is when I split from my ex-husband, and the family were saying things like, oh, the kids are going to be from another split household, you know, what's this going to do to them, blah, 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 and all of their own fears and worries around what it would mean for the kids. And my ex-husband and I just kept saying, we are going to put the kids first. They are going to be happy, solid, safe and secure in the knowledge that we both love them and that we are always going to put them first and above our own emotional whatevers. And they are the most beautiful, happy, well-rounded 14 and 16-year-old, I'm going to get emotional, that you'll ever meet. They love their life and they wouldn't change anything about their childhood, and we're 7 years on.
Yeah.
And he and I created that.
Yeah. And yet, that's a great example. I know we've gone off past lives and soulmates, but that's just the way we roll, right? And this is a conversation between the two of us. As you said, we've decided. Well,
it's not really because he, although I've never had any past life experiences or like delved into it about him. He was a soulmate that I was meant to meet in this life and have children with. Like that's
yeah, absolutely, yeah. Well, where I was going was like, if you had listened to the outside influences and
focused on that,
gone against, then you would have been in a loveless marriage, feeling miserable, you know. And what sort of example would have that been for your children, right?
That's right.
And so, you know, like it worked out really beautifully for you that both of you were able to be amicable with the process and all of that sort of stuff. So
and it wasn't that it was easy all the time. It's just that we were very clear about our intention and our focus. When things did get tough, we had that to fall back on.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
remind each other of.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so beautiful. So I just looked at the time. Our 30 minutes is coming to a close. So if people would like to get in contact with you, Nicolette, what would you, let's do your little, because we didn't even tell anyone what we do or who we are. Well, we said hello, who we are, but what is it that
So
you
you
do,
go
Nicolette?
first. You go first this time.
Okay. Okay, because we usually do it the other way around,
Yeah.
don't we? Okay, so if you're interested in getting in contact with me, I'm Elizabeth Eleanor. Eleanor, I just noticed we don't have the names on here. I think I clicked it off for something the other day. So Eleanor is unusual on Facebook because I'm one of the only ones. It's Elenor. Very unusual writing. That's the way it was on my birth certificate. And I'm Elizabeth Eleanor, the Spiritual Warrior, as my business page. I'm the founder of Women of Light Movement on Facebook and Women of Light Meetup. And I'm an intuitive healer, mentor, guide people through releasing those old patterns. So I've gone from doing just energy work, where I'm working with people, and then past lives, which I did for however long. And I don't really do that anymore. I'd be passing people on to Nicolette maybe if they wanted to work with past lives. Though that sometimes comes up. What I do now is a thing called recoding, and it helps to get out of 95% of the time we're being run by our subconscious. And so recoding is clearing those subconscious patterns so that we can become what I call the superconscious here on earth and be conscious creators. So I run 2 courses, Awaken the Lioness, and another course called Conscious Creator Mastermind. That's my baby, that one. I really love supporting women through the process of really stripping all of that stuff that dross and tuning in and actually creating from a conscious place. And we get some amazing results through the process. So that's me.
Cool.
Nicolette, wait a minute. I'm going to pass you that way.
So what I do is that I am an artist and a poet and an energy healer. So I use my poetry and my artwork, or have used them, to create 3 decks of oracle cards. And the oracle cards are a big part of my modality and what I do. I run retreats, which also encompass art therapy. And although I've got a retreat coming up in August, which is full, and I'm not doing another one until February, so I haven't opened the spots up for that yet. But I love doing group work, and what I do is called body and soul harmonization. So whatever happens. But as I was talking about before, I love to connect with people's soulmates or people's soul connections, and sorry, I just had a reminder come up, and release those past stories. So that could be, you could have something around your mother or your father or a sibling or a romantic connection, or that is blocking you from really tapping into your own higher self. I use pendulums a lot in my work, and I teach other people how to be healers, to heal themselves and other people. So in the group work at the retreats, we do a lot of, I usually have 2 or 3 tables set up, and 3 people on the tables at once. And I'm facilitating healing as well as teaching other people how to do the same. So in everything I do, I try to give people their power to be a healer. Yeah. And show them that I'm not a guru. I'm just someone who has some tools, and I'm here to share them. Yeah. So So I've got a body and soul harmonization group session in person in Toowoomba on Thursday, and then next Thursday I have one online. So I'll put the links to those in the comments. They're $150 for 90 minutes, and it's a full chakra clearing and reconnection with your higher self.
Yeah, awesome. I also do a monthly thing. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, we've just had one actually, so it's not until next month. But you can have a look on Women of Light Movement if you're interested on Facebook, and that's got all the details. So you just got a reminder about something that we're both supposed to be on. So
yeah, that's right. So we should go and tune into that. And I need to get back in the car and get on the road.
Yeah, lovely to have everyone on here. We'll have to go back in and check out all the things. If you did want to ask a question or something we said, we'll definitely get back in there and we'll respond to anything anywhere. Just tag us if you can. We're in each other's Facebook groups and stuff as well. So
and stay tuned for what our topic is going to be for next week, because we haven't decided that yet, have we?
No.
But we will announce it.
Yes. I think we've got a list of things. Everything that comes up, I put it in an ideas list. So yeah, sounds good.
Okay.
Take care and enjoy the rest of your trip, Nicolette.
I will. Bye.
See ya.